My name is Mario Gonzalez. I want to welcome all of you and thanks for joining us today to celebrate Sister Diana's life and to commemorate her. We also want to celebrate her legacy and all the inspiration that she provided to many of us and maybe to all of us that are here sharing today. Before going into other aspects of this event, so I want to start with some business issues. This event is being recorded. So if you don't want to be in the recording, there is a function in the Zoom. Always you go with your mouse, you go down, and you can block the little camera that is there. So that way you are not recorded. And please remember to put on mute your microphone so that way we avoid the background noise. I think that's the very basic announcement. The second big announcement is that we are not having interpretation or translation. So from English to Spanish or Spanish to English. So we're gonna try to be listening with our hearts, trying to understand with our hearts. And that's a very important aspect of this little gathering. So the other aspect is that after the speakers that are already scheduled, it's going to be an opportunity for an open microphone for people to collaborate in providing memories or say some words, inspiration words, or what you feel the moment inspires you. Thanks again for coming to celebrate in community, this community that we have created through the years and community that Sister Diana was part of. So I want to share a little memory that I have in my heart about her. And it is at the very beginning of the visits to the Kovler Center. So she came with a lot of ambivalence. So being in a room with this Guatemalan guy that is me, after being tortured by Guatemalans, so it was a sign of great courage. And I think this is what really moved me and inspired me, because it's not that she was not afraid, that she didn't experience pain and suffering, that she not live in fear. But for me, the courage, the real courage, is how she overcome this fear, this pain, and confronted. And she was able to overpass that. And for me, that's the material of which heroes, real heroes, are made. She was a real hero for me. And it's different than superheroes in comics, that, you know, they never are afraid, they never experience pain, they, you know, and they do wonderful things. But Sister Diana showed me a real hero, that despite of the fear, despite of the pain, she did all what she did. It is something that I'm gonna keep in my heart for the rest of my days. And it's a moving part of this, and it's why I keep these memories of that very strong woman that was able to inspire me and inspire so many of us. I'm gonna now introduce Josefina. She's gonna kick off this event. So she's gonna start by doing a blessing about this event. So I'm gonna let Josefina speak. Thank you very much.
por la memoria de nuestra hermana Dianna y por su lucha por la justicia. Con el dolor de mi corazón, le pido a nuestro Señor, Creador del cielo y Creador de la tierra, que lo tenga en su santa gloria. Y estoy muy orgullosa y agradecida de conocer a una gran persona como ella, con un corazón y con un espíritu hermoso, por la lucha por la justicia, que fue una persona luchadora, fuerte y que fue una maestra para nosotros. Y siempre estará en nuestro corazón y siempre estará con nosotros. Para ella y para todo y para todos nosotros, y que siempre vivirá. Diana.
Ok. Hola, yo soy Antonio Martínez. Escribí algo acerca de Dianna que quiero compartir con ustedes. I want to share what I wrote about Dianna. I contemplate, and this was during meditation, that's why it was contemplation. I contemplate Dianna's presence from two perspectives, from two paradigms, from two different ways of knowing. The first one from her religious vocation, the second one from the archetype of the hero. Dianna walked in sainthood with a prophetic vocation and with a profound acceptance of her martyrdom. The ones that had the privilege of knowing her presence directly notice her great capacity of being present as people with the people. No elitism, not being a voice of the people, but be a voice as people. I remember her happiness when several Mayan children told her, finally, you are one of us. Estás piojosa, you have lices like us. When confronted with the institutional cruelty of the Guatemalan dictatorship encouraged and trained by the government of the United States, she decided to be a prophet and she was willing to pay the price. The image that popped out of my subconscious in this contemplation was Jesus in the Garden of the Olive praying to the Father, asking if it was possible not to have to pass through the excruciating suffering of the crucifixion, and an angel came and gave Jesus a chalice of blood, and he willingly walked toward his sacrifice. Dianna willingly accepted her pain every time she had to give the testimony of her excruciating torture. Every time she gave testimony of the suffering of the people of Guatemala, she suffered a flashback. She felt again the 111 cigarette burnings in the temple of her body. But that suffering and other suffering did not stop her of her prophetic vocation of amplifying the voice of the Mayan people. In my opinion, these are the actions of a martyr. She did not stay in silence out of the most important of all virtues, profound love. Julio Chalcuben was one of the angels that helped Dianna accept her prophetic vocation. I found this quotation by praying to Dianna, opened her book, and it came a very meaningful passage. One morning I was working with him in the English as a second language classroom, teaching him English phrases and helping him relearn and practice Spanish. Once, after a few moments, he asked me if I were sad. Yes, I told him, Diana está triste. I told him I had nightmares. He repeated the word several times, practicing, and nodded. He knew what it means. Then he walked over to the map and pointed to Guatemala. Tortura, he said. I nodded. He nodded too. He let his eyes wander over the map for a while, then pointed to Peru. Tortura. Yes, I told him. He pointed to Colombia. Tortura. I nodded. He scanned the maps again and pointed to China. Tortura. Yes, I think so. I went over to the map and pointed to some other countries, Honduras, El Salvador, South Africa, and Russia. Aquí también tortura. Julio shook his head. I had never seen him angry, but his voice was hard and loud. No, Diana habla. No tortura. Diana habla. Diana speak. He was saying Diana must speak out against it. Her death of cancer was a sequel of her torture. Dr. Busto documented how there is an incidence of 60% more than the general population of cancer in survivors of torture. She died in peace, surrounded by people that love her. She was able to give meaning to her victimization. At the end, was able to say, in the words of Saint Albert de Magnus, Feliciter ad finem per ardua tamen, happy at the end of a arduous task. Diana from heaven and paradise, help us to follow your example of love and commitment. Hasta siempre, compañera. Hasta siempre, compañera. The second way of understanding Diana's sacrifice is from the archetype of the hero. In this way, across time, the hero has become a symbol of transformation, a symbol of precocity of the human spirit in the face of death, a symbol of the human spirit in the face of death, a symbol of our innate desire to expand. Their values and personal belief give them the courage and resolve to endure risk and even danger in order to adhere to those principles. For Diana, the principle of profound love, profound courage, and profound commitment with justice. All heroes in mythology have three challenges, tres pruebas que vencer. Diana overcome the fear to confront the oppressor. Diana overcome the fear of the terrible symptoms of PTSD by giving them meaning. Diana overcome the tendency to be defeated by her excruciating pain and transform that pain into the most pure of all virtues, solidarity and love. Compañera Diana, that your example help us to be light of the world and salt of the earth. Hasta siempre, compañera. Hasta siempre, Santa Diana, martyr. Thank you. And now, Sister Pat and Sister Juanita will talk to us.
Thank you, Antonio. In October of 1990, we opened Su Casa Catholic Worker. Sister Juanita and I and a team of other people. And shortly after we opened, Mario and Antonio visited to ask if we would be willing to partner by housing some of their clients. That is how in January of 1991, Dianna came to Sukasa. Dianna was so very fragile, and we wondered how we could love her into healing and help her into healing. Thanks to the Kovler Center, we learned how to be with Dianna and all of the other clients. Because Dianna was North American and a survivor, and she needed to know how special she was to us, we made her part of the staff as a bridge between the staff and the survivor residents who lived in Sukasa, and to help us better understand. She was so fragile, and yet, as Antonio said, so strong to be able to survive at all and to keep on working to move to the next step of healing. There are so many stories we could tell, but one thing I want to share that brought joy to Dianna and amusement to all of us at Sukasa. And they were her trips to Ford City shopping mall on her day off each week. Now, Dianna was frightened of, just seemed to be frightened of everything and didn't want to be out in a crowd, and surely not by herself. But on her day off, she wanted to go to Ford City. One of us would drive her, and she would stay all day, mostly in the food court. And there she would write all day long. Then in the afternoon, late afternoon, we would pick her up. And somehow, we don't know, she found comfort and safety there. It is an honor and a privilege to be a part of Dianna's story and to have been a partner with the Kovler Center, who helped us living and sharing with a household of very special people, the survivors of torture.
And I'm Juanita, and I'd like to share an experience that I had. Dianna wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. She was so weak in her body and yet so strong in her determination. And she was determined to find out who did this to her and what part the United States played in her torture. So a trip was planned to Guatemala, and she invited me to be a part of the team that accompanied her. I think I saw Mary Fabry on this call, and Mary was her therapist, and Mary and I were with her the whole time because we left Chicago with her. We met the others in Florida and went together to Guatemala. This trip cost Dianna so much, physically and psychologically, as she had to visit the garden, the bus route, the military base. Because of her fragile state, in the middle of the trip, Mary Fabry had to call a halt. When we returned to Sukasa, Pat and I took turns sleeping in her room to make sure she was safe. The lights were on all night and the TV was blaring, so we took turns. The terrible experience did not deter Dianna from wanting to go back and finish her search for the truth. So a year later, Mary and I went back with her, but this time we had Andrea Gunderson, her massage therapist, and we were all much better prepared for the trip. Nevertheless, it was very difficult, but Dianna came home so much stronger than the year before. Being on those trips was so traumatic for all of us, but what a gift. When Dianna was doing her fast across from the White House in order to get documents from our country, Pat and I flew to DC to be with her for a few days. Again, how weak she was physically, but how strong in her determination. The week we were there was the week of civil disobedience. So during her vigil, our first arrest in Washington happened. We often said that Su Casa years were the hardest years of our lives, but we wouldn't change that time for anything. And now we're going to watch a video. I remember.
Esta melodía es un son guatemalteco y se lo vamos a dedicar en marimba a la hermana Sister Dianna Ortiz en conmemoración a su alma.
Querida compañera Dianna, en nombre de nuestra familia Morales Gómez Paz, queremos conmemorar su vida hoy y siempre. Queremos darle las gracias por haber sido una de las personas que tuvo el valor, el coraje a denunciar los abusos de los que usted fue objeto. Y gracias de todo corazón por todo el trabajo a los derechos humanos que usted hizo, por todo el apoyo que dio a las luchas en este país y en nuestro país, Guatemala. Desde hoy nosotros le queremos decir que vamos a seguir su legado de lucha y luchar también por los derechos de todo ser humano. Gracias, gracias de todo corazón.
Compañeros, compañeras, pues yo quiero agradecer a Dianna Ortiz. Yo tuve el privilegio, todavía tengo los recuerdos cuando la llegamos a conocer en los varios eventos, simposios aquí en la Universidad de Illinois, aquí en Chicago. Desde ese momento pues me fijé que era una mujer de tremenda fortitud. Me va pensando en todo lo que pasó, increíble, la fibra de la mujer que era. Por eso le agradezco tanto también por todo lo que ella trabajó, porque fue parte de la lucha, porque aquí en los Estados Unidos ella hizo tanto por los derechos humanos, ¿verdad? Y la verdad que perdimos una gran persona, pero como dice mi mamá, el legado de ella va a seguir, se la agradece. Gente como ella nunca se olvida. Tenemos algo en común, la gran sed por la justicia, y estoy seguro que la justicia pues va a ser hecha en su nombre y en el nombre de todos los que hemos perdido. La justicia va a ser hecha. Gracias, Dianna Ortiz. Gracias.
My name is Mario Venegas. Hello to everyone attending this tribune and memory of Sister Dianna Ortiz. I want to share an experience that I lived with her. We were invited to an event at Loyola University in Chicago to talk about her experience in Guatemala as well as mine in Chile. As you all know, we are both survivors of torture. While Sister Dianna was talking, she burst into tears and got silence and went backstage. I felt that I had to run to her and hold her hand or give her a hug, something, but thinking that she was a woman and moreover a nun, I refrained from doing it. When her talk was over, she came to sit next to me and talk with her what I have been wanted to do, but I didn't do it. She told me that you should have done it. You would have brought to me back to the present time and let my mind from the place of torture and to the torturers. She gave me a good lesson. From that experience is that every time that I have to listen to a torture survivor narrating her or his experience and break into tears, I always wanted to go to them and hold their hands, give him or her a hug or something that will brought them to the present time. Well, so she gave me really a good lesson when she told me that I should do that with every time someone is talking about their own experience. Well, no one should think that these people are really weak or they are fragile or consider themselves victims. They are really, really real survivors. So with that, I will always say that Sister Dianna was never a weak person. She always demonstrated to be always very, very strong in all her actions in the campaign against torture, denouncing educating, and demanding justice and no to impunity. So, as very strong woman and person that she was, I would like to hear really shout to all of you and say, Sister Dianna Ortiz, presente. Sister Dianna Ortiz, presente now and always. Presente ahora y siempre. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I would like to thank the Kovler Center for giving us the opportunity to celebrate Sister Dianna's life. There are a lot to say about Sister Dianna. I met her for the first time on one of the task celebrations in Washington, D.C., more than a decade ago. I'm thankful to have known Sister Dianna. She gave voices to many torture survivors here in the United States and around the world. As immigrants, she gave to many of us the opportunity to stand on a large platform where we were able to voice our concerns about human rights abuses and torture treatments happening in our home countries. Sister Dianna was a real activist, a calm woman with a big heart. I will never forget her. I will always remember her as a human rights defender known for her fight for justice and torture survivor rights. I will always remember her as a family member and friends. Thanks, family. Please let us continue to pay tribute to her fight against torture and impunity here in the US and everywhere else around the world. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Gracias por la oportunidad de participar en este evento y de expresar mis más sinceras condolencias a la familia, amistades y comunidad de la hermana Dianna Ortiz. Mi nombre es Sandra Morales y yo tuve el placer y privilegio de conocer a la hermana Dianna por ahí por el 2003, cuando era miembro de la Fundación de Derechos Humanos para Guatemala. Recuerdo que hicimos un evento aquí en Chicago en el cual tuve la oportunidad de conocer de la calidez de ser humano de la hermana Dianna. Durante ese evento ella compartió la historia de horror que ella vivió en Guatemala y la lucha que ella estaba llevando a cabo para encontrar justicia. Y a pesar de la historia tan dolorosa que ella tenía que contar, en el fondo de su corazón, ella tenía la capacidad de hacer sentir a otros seres humanos como que si lo que los demás teníamos que decir era lo más importante en ese momento. Es un recuerdo muy cálido que llevo en el corazón. Así es que en mi corazón por siempre, eternamente agradecida por la lucha incansable que ella llevó a cabo. Gracias, hermana Dianna. Es un hasta siempre.
I was a little girl when I met Sister Dianna. And in this particular memory, we were sharing a meal as a larger group here in a church in Chicago. I was leaning on Sister Dianna and she was holding me. I was stroking a pendant that was hanging in a necklace around her neck. And I remember just how beautiful and how smooth and shiny this pendant was. Sister Dianna went on to explain to me that the pendant had been given to her by a family member of a man that had been killed in Guatemala. She was wearing a fragment of his bone as a pendant around her neck. And I remember knowing how significant and how honorable it was to be touching that necklace. I remember thinking of the person who had been killed and who she carried close to her heart. That necklace was really a testimony to who Sister Dianna was and how she held the people of Guatemala close to her heart. She never forgot those that had been tortured, raped, killed, or disappeared in Guatemala.
Hello, everyone. Good to see everyone here. I trust that every family is doing well. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a couple of words about Sister Dianna. On that day, I received a call from a fellow survivor, crying, deep in agony, and not saying anything for about 45 seconds. In our traditional way of consoling fellow survivors, I felt the pain in her voice, and I took it in for another couple of seconds without wondering what might have happened. because pain is no stranger to our lives. All I kept saying was, we will survive. We will survive. It will be okay. But I had no idea what she had in mind. And then she slowly muttered these words. How? How? How are we going to survive? Sister Dianna is gone. Suddenly, 3 things happened to me at the same time, or in any order. I screamed out, "What?" And then it felt like a sword just went through my chest. And then I fell into this raging anger, very angry, agonizing. But realizing how helpless I was, all I could hear myself saying was, why? Why? But why? What was the justification for taking Sister Dianna away from us? She was ours. The world needs her. Sister Dianna was an answer to prayers from so many, countless numbers of people, torture survivors from every corner of the world. Sister Dianna blessed families with her unwavering life commitment to the fight for our dignity. She believed that life in its simplest form is beautiful. Whether it is the life of a human being, an animal, or nature. It was fundamental to her that life should be lived by all people. She believed that human beings and the nature that surrounds us possess a deep, peaceful soul that yearns to continually live in peace and harmony with each other. And that if we harmonize our inner self, our hearts, our soul, that singular spiritual portion of our very being, if we harmonize these with the desire to be peaceful, to live and let live, to stand for freedom from the pain caused by man's inhuman desire to denigrate, to hurt, to dehumanize, to torture, to stand for freedom from the pain caused by man's inhuman desire, again, to denigrate. She believed that we will experience the deeper peace, kindness, humility, self-confidence, respect for life, respect for others, respect for human dignity, and a significant level of organic empowerment. But beyond all, Sister Dianna believed that this inner alignment would give you the ability to truly embrace other people's pain from torture and injustice. You will be able to meet them where they are in their arduous journey in healing and help them through the fire. Sister Dianna's life was an epitome of humility, altruism, self-sacrifice, love, kindness, spirituality, respect. A life devoted to uplifting humanity as a whole by restoring the value of life and dignity to survivors of torture, by showing us the beauty inside each and every one of us, and by bringing the best out of the most vulnerable as well as the most powerful. She spoke truth to power. She accomplished this in all of us in so many invaluable ways. Advocacy, she maintained, is a way to peacefully and consistently apply the truth as your most potent tool against torture. She sacrificed her life so our children could see the light of day. My tears are shed at this moment in gratitude and in recognition of what a gentle heroine she was and continues to be for generations to come, because I will continue to pray in her name as my personal saint. And my child, our children, will learn about her and keep her legacy close to their hearts. I know my understanding of divine purpose is limited, so I pray that I get an answer to my question, why? As I try to make peace with her departure, I don't know what's next. I really don't know. But I have faith that that same peaceful, fearless voice of Sister Dianna's will live forever. All that disappeared, all torture victims that did not survive, Harold Nelson, Orlando Ortiz, Sister Dianna Ortiz, presente. Thank you.
My name is Catherine, and I'd like to take some time to thank all of you for coming out tonight to celebrate and remember our sister and friend, Sister Dianna. And I also would like to thank the Marjorie Kovler Center for organizing this event in honor of Sister Dianna. More than that, I'd like to thank Kovler also for the opportunity to facilitate this segment of the program along with Danny. The Sister Dianna that we're celebrating, each of us can share from now until a month's time every day, and we wouldn't have exhausted the volumes of memories that we have of Sister Dianna. Last Saturday, we had gathered as well to celebrate and remember Sister Dianna with friends from Task in Washington, D.C. And it was a wonderful time of remembering an activist, remembering a sister, remembering a fighter, a person who exemplified forgiveness, even after everything that happened to her. She exemplified fortitude, even though she was very gentle. She was a fighter who never gave up. And I am very grateful to be part of this activity tonight. And I will miss Sister Dianna. I know that you all will all miss her, but she lives on in our hearts. Every time we hear the words task or torture or impunity, it will call to mind the work that Sister Dianna did. Today, we'll remember her by the volumes of her work, how tirelessly she fought for those that were voiceless, who couldn't, for someone like me, who no one would have probably ever heard. Like Martin said, she gave us a platform to voice our sufferings in a place that was safe for us to do so. And I remember when I first came to this country all those years ago and discovered that I could get treatment and actually got treatment at the Marjorie Kovler Center. You know, most of it came from the work of that Sister Dianna started. And I'm also very grateful for that. In this next segment, we're going to open up the microphone to anyone who would like to share. Danny and I would be facilitating, like I said, and you can raise your hand on the screen, or you can indicate in the chat box that you would like to say something, and we will yield the microphone to you in order that the intent have come in. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Leon. I'm the Executive Director of Task International. It's my pleasure to be here. And as I always said, this is a celebration of Sister Dianna's life. She has achieved many things that many people have, never achieved, and it is really an inspiration to all of us. I want to thank the Kovler Center for the work you did with Sister Dianna. She always highly spoke of Kovler Center and what it meant in her life. So this is an opportunity for me to thank Kovler Center. And as task, I think we have many things that we have learned from Kovler Center, because Sister Dianna, as our founder, she has brought some of that culture from Kovler Center. So we want to thank you, to thank everyone who was involved in her care, Dr. Mary Fabry and everyone else. We really appreciate. Sister Dianna was a mentor to me, but also a friend. But what struck me is, despite what she went through, she always cared about other survivors. It was never about her. It was always about survivors. Every time I met her, we had a coffee, once a month, and she would always ask me, how are survivors doing? So she was very concerned about survivors, how they are doing, especially during COVID-19 time. She was really, really worried about how survivors are doing, and I really appreciated that from her. Again, as she always said, from the torture she went through, she decided to become a social entrepreneur, and this is how Task came to be. And now we have more than 500 survivors just from her ideas, and other people who were with her when they founded Task. So this is really a gift from her to all survivors, and survivors will always be grateful to her. And with her advocacy that she started, we will continue to speak out against torture around the world, but also to support torture survivors. Again, thank you for inviting us today. I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leon, for sharing. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mary Fabry. I'm not going to say much because it's too difficult. Maybe I won't be able to say anything at all. I just want to say that since Dianna died, I've had lots of conversations with her in my head. I'm listening to all the praise and honor. She's in my head, and she would want you to know she couldn't have done it without you, and to remember that. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Mary.
I think it's also hard for me to talk. I met Sister Dianna when I was in su casa. And I think I would say that it was I was feeling the same place, in the same way that Mario Venegas was talking about. And it was, I met her and I really wanted to say, I'm sorry, Sister Dianna. I am so sorry that happened to you in my own country. And letting her know that, what happened to me, in a way, I deserved it. I was tortured, but why you? Why you? And I really wanted to say that to her and hug her. And I never did it because I was so shy. And I can see that she was fragile and also, I don't know, timid, shy. And but she was a wonderful and a very strong woman, that it will be, I know, not just in my heart, but in all of our hearts. And when I knew that, when my husband told me that she had died, I think my reaction was, well, I will miss you, will miss her, but finally she is in peace. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Kovler Center, for having this memorial service for her. And still I would say, I'm so sorry, Sister Dianna, for what Guatemalan has done to you. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much.
My name's Mary Black, and I also want to thank everyone for all of what they've shared, because I feel like we all get to know Sister Dianna a little better. And I think what Mario Vanegas and Matilde shared is what a lot of us do in terms of not knowing what to do. And I think we can only learn from that, and feel that all those lessons will teach us, because Sister Dianna wants us to all, I think, have hope and look forward in the way that she did. And I first met her, I'm gonna get upset to it, with the Guatemalan community, when I started at Kovler, who were great. It was a trajectory in my life that changed my life, and Sister Dianna was part of that. But I was gonna share this. I don't know if anyone remembers at one talk, Dianna gave out these little shells. Can you see these little shells? I don't know if anyone can jog my memory, but they were to remind us, like Anthony mentioned, that there's such beauty and simplicity, and that she wanted us to remember, like, these shells represented people, that when we're on a beach, we might pick up the most beautiful shell, but to remember all those little shells that represent us as human beings, and that everybody, like all these shells, are important. And so I think, even though a lot of us feel bad and really sad, that's really normal, because it's such a loss, but also to know that she grew so much. And I've learned so much in these past memorials of how Sister Dianna grew and was able to move forward. And as Antonio said, to transform the trauma. So those lessons, I think we can all bring with us, and so grateful for her, and sorry that she had to experience the unthinkable, but that we can move forward as she did. I think that's the lesson. And thanks to everyone who contributed. And wanted to acknowledge there's a photographer. Oh my goodness, Mary told me. There's one of the gentlemen who provided so many, El Shafe Dufala from Sudan, provided a lot of the photographs that were in the beginning of this tribute, as well as thanking the Decum person. I don't know who they are, but they did that beautiful video. So, and thanks to everyone.
I want to share just a couple verses of a song by Bernice Johnson Reagan, which is called "They Are Falling." And it reminds me of what all of you are saying today, what all of us feel. So I'm just going to do the first verse and the end of the song. They are falling all around me. They are falling all around me. They are falling all around me. The strongest leaves
of my tree. But you're not really gonna leave me. You're not really gonna leave me. You're not really gonna leave me. It is your path I walk. It is your song I sing. It is your load I take on. It is your air I breathe. It's the record you set that makes me go on. It's your strength that helps me stand. You're not really gonna leave me. So I will try to sing my song right. I will try to sing my song right. I will try to sing my song. Be sure to let me hear from you.
Danny, I would like to say a couple of words just before leaving. I want to thank everyone for coming this afternoon. And I would like to take this opportunity to recommit ourselves in this commitment to receive torture survivors and provide to them a place of love and a space for them to heal. And we're gonna keep doing that. And so that's something that I consider a way to honor the legacy of Sister Dianna. Thanks everyone, and go ahead with Carlos' intervention. Thank you.